In Australia, barely a year goes by without some form of natural disaster. These disasters put very high strains on emergency services, which often need help from the military. Even then, floods, bushfires and general rough terrain mean that people in need cannot always be accessed. Helicopters respond quickly, but are limited to evacuating people in small numbers and dropping water on fires. So how can we reduce the response time of land vehicles and increase their accessibility to these locations?
We found out that airlifting by helicopter was the quickest way to respond to remote disaster locations, but this poses a problem. Ambulances and fire trucks are far too heavy to be picked up, and helicopters can only do so much. This is why we decided to take a standard ute and modify it in a way so that it can be airlifted into these remote areas for disaster assistance.
We looked at different models of utes, such as the Toyota Hilux, and discovered that there was no easy way to decrease the weight of the vehicle itself without reducing the capacity of the engine, which obviously wasn't an option for emergency purposes. Looking at the accessories that come with the ute, we discovered that a lot of weight can be stripped from the standard bull bars and ute trays.
The proposed solution is to design a new lightweight ute tray and bull bar which, once attached to a vehicle, can be safely airlifted and is tough enough to cope with the conditions. The advantages of using ute tray is that different modules can be custom made depending on a disaster. A fire unit will consist mostly of a tank refill water and pumping unit. A flight unit will consist of mostly first aid and medical applications to assist.
A set of performance metrics had to be established, which must all be satisfied for airlifting to be possible and to cope with the demands of emergency services. In order to be airlifted, the ute must weigh no more than 150 kilograms and hold a payload of at least 900 kilograms in order to carry essential equipment for the purposes of emergency services. Rollover protection is essential for driver safety, and anchor points must also be added to allow for airlifting attachment.
The bull bar is essential for remote regions in order to protect the vehicle against animal strikes and other obstacles. This is far too heavy in the current design and must be reduced to a weight of approximately 20 kilograms.
As a team leader, my primary responsibility is project and team management. I'll take the lead with all the design while working closely with the project team on the CAD modelling and FEA impact analysis. I'll also be the main line of contact with the client and will ensure all meetings run efficiently.
For this project, I will be concentrating on the lightweight demand of the design by investigating the material selection aspect of each part. Given the importance of weight and payload capacity, this will be a major factor in the effectiveness of the design. I will also join forces with Jerome for the CAD model development.
I will be investigating alternative manufacturing processes such as casting in order to minimize the number of processes required to manufacture each element, which will ultimately save costs. This is very important for the bull bar, which currently involves too many steps. This will involve collaboration with Edward to ensure these techniques are compatible with material choice.
As the completed finisher of the group, I will be responsible for report writing and editing. This means I will be in charge of making sure that all deliverables are completed on time and to a high professional standard. On top of this, I'll also be working closely with Jerome and Harpreet to assess the overall feasibility of the project. The purpose of this project is to design a system that will allow emergency services to airlift a vehicle into remote regions during a natural disaster. To make this possible, we will be designing a ute tray, bull bar and rollover protection to fit onto a standard ute. Given the demands of emergency services and the restrictions of airlifting, the design must be required to satisfy a number of criteria. The ute tray must weigh no more than 150 kilograms and bull bar no more than 20 kilograms. It must hold a payload of at least 900 kilograms and must be able to meet the high demands of emergency services. Alternative manufacturing methods will be investigated, and most importantly, the vehicle must be capable of being airlifted.
To Together we will aim to produce the most suitable solution to meet the needs of the Australian emergency services.